everybody. I'm Kelly of Forever Winding Wool and welcome to Holt's Claw Homestead. Today I'm going to take this ball of hand spun yarn and I'm going to hand dye it with some food dye. Come join me in my kitchen. What I have here is some hand spun wool. I'm not sure exactly what breed it was. It's pretty soft. It did have a lot of vegetable matter in it. So I really felt like, well, it's not something that I can sell. So I will spin it up myself and see what kind of results I got. And it turned out much softer than I thought. And I feel pretty confident to be able to dye it and then put it in my Etsy shop. I brought you inside so that you can see me do the dye process. I am in a camper, and what we're going to do is we're going to heat up the water on top of the stove, and then I will put the dye in, and then we're going to put this fiber into the water, dry, and we're going to watch. Now, violet dye is known for doing what is called breaking, and what breaking does is it separates the blue from the red, which makes purple, and that makes for a very fun yarn at the finished product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 1/4 teaspoon, and let me go ahead and get my water boiling. Okay, I've started off with warm tap water. And I'm going to use about a 1/4 teaspoon of this. I have 4 ounces or 100 grams of wool in this cake that I have wound up. It looks pretty in the pot already. Now I'm not going to add any kind of a mordant or vinegar quite yet, because I want the dye to break, and then I want it to set. Okay, just stir that up a little bit. I can still see some dye down at the bottom. I don't think that you can see the color very well, so let me see if I can help you out. Okay, it looks like our water is pretty warm. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my slotted spoon and my yarn, and I'm just going to very carefully set it down in there, allowing the water to be naturally absorbed into this yarn. You can see it's a pretty blue, purplish blue. I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to let it just kind of settle in there for a good 10 minutes, and then I'm going to come back. One of the advantages of dyeing your yarn this way is that you get a natural gradient, and you don't risk the possibility of felting your wool because you don't touch it. You just set it into the dye pot, allow the wool to naturally soak up the dye, allow it to sit long enough to absorb everything that is in the pot, and then you just simply remove it and squeeze out the remaining water. Now, just because I'm curious, I want to see. This is a nice, like a pink. And then you have some blue up top. I'm going to go ahead and flip this over very carefully. It's only been about 5 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and put my vinegar in. I have about 4 tablespoons of vinegar prepared to pour in here, and I think I'm going to just put half of it in there. You can see how blue it is. I'm going to let it sit for another 5 minutes. Okay, it's been 5 minutes and it looks like it's getting to be pretty purple around the edges on the outside of the yarn cake, so I'm going to go ahead and put in this other 4 ounces. No, that wasn't 4 ounces, that was 2 tablespoons of vinegar. And move this yarn around a little bit. Since I wound this cake very loosely, it's going to allow the dye to penetrate all the way in, and then into the middle, into all of it. So hopefully you can see the blueness of the dye that's left over right now. So the red broke away from the blue, resulting in a successful breaking of the color. So let's go ahead and flip it over again. Seems to be really dark on the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to continue with the heat on low, probably for another 10 minutes. So I'll see you back here in 10 minutes. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, so now I'm going to turn the fire off. And let's take a look at the pot. Now you can notice that you can see more blue in the bottom, which means a lot of the dye is being absorbed. And we're going to come back and visit it after it's cooled. Okay, it looks like the yarn is about ready to come out now. It's cool enough. And most of the dye has been exhausted from the water. So now I'm going to remove the yarn and we're gonna spin it out and get all that excess water out of the yarn, and then we're gonna look at it and see what kind of results we got. I just wanted to show you outside what this yarn looks like. It is absolutely so I want to say it's iridescent in the fact that it's blue and fuchsia and purple. I'm gonna wind this up into a hank and allow it to dry, and I will bring it back for you to look at as soon as I'm done.